Hello, welcome back to Bad's Garage. Day off today, so you know what that means, don't you? This thing, let's give it a bash. So basically what I've got to do is get them carbs off again, and the one thing that I didn't do, even though I tried to go through them methodically when I did the air mixture screws, I completely forgot to blast up the Venturas where they go in. So that's probably the reason why it made absolutely no difference when I changed the O-rings. So we're going to get the mixture screws back out, and we're going to try and make sure those Venturas are clear, and fingers crossed, hopefully once that's done, because apart from it not idling right, it runs perfectly. Fingers crossed once that is done, I'm hoping that it will just start and idle as it should. But we'll see. Let's get all this crap out of the way, get set up, and then we'll go through it. Right, so I've got to the point where I can get to the air mixture screws. I'm pretty confident it's nothing to do with anything in the bowls, so it's just a case of whipping out each air mixture screw, throwing some cleaner up there and blasting it out and making sure that it is coming out of these these few holes here, and then hopefully we should be good. But yeah, we'll see. Right, so I've gone through them all. At least 3 of the needles were quite dirty, to be honest, and it could well be that's the problem, because all of the Venturas seem to be reasonably clear. I think this one here, was not as free flowing as these, but I've gone through them all, cleaned all the needles, put it all back together. Fingers crossed this works, because if it doesn't, I don't honestly know what I'm going to do other than taking the carbs off and sending them away, because yeah, I think that's all I can do really. But yeah, we'll stick it all back together and see how it is, and we'll obviously go from there. Right, so we're all back together. It's just a case of testing it. I don't know what's happened to the battery. I think that's died. I've had it on a repair charge while I've been doing that, but I might have to stick the battery pack on. So I'll get that ready. Actually, I'll stick it on anyway. Yeah. So we'll get the booster on. Just unplug that. So what was it? In gear, wasn't it? In gear. Alright, so it's in gear. Power on. We should be able to get the pump going till that fills the carbs. Yep. Then we can knock it out of gear into neutral. Choke on. Fingers crossed. Is it going to be Ave? minute is no choke, but I don't think she's running on all four. of idling. I think she's idling that because she's idling that because she's only running on 3. So, this bike. Right, well, she's ticking over, but not great. So I can only assume that maybe we'll have to balance the carbs. Balancing the carbs is something I've done before. I have got the stuff to do it. I think that's probably going to be the next thing to try. Like I say, she is ticking over. She's ticking over flat. Whereas before, she was ticking over but then kept putting out. But that, I'm only on 3 cylinders kind of sound to it. So you give it the beans. So it could well be just a simple case of balancing the carbs. Yeah. Well, I've done what I set out to achieve today, and make sure that those Venturas were clear and then the needles were clean. It's kind of improved in a way, whereas it's not constantly cutting out on idle. It is idling, although it's idling terribly. So, and I haven't balanced the carbs, so that may be something that I'm going to have to do. But to do the balancing on these carbs, you have to take the fucking carbs off to put the adapters in, to then, yeah, it's a pain in the dick. Anyway, this has gone on far too long for me today. Like I say, I've done what I set out to achieve. Hopefully this will just start back up. So it weren't really doing that before. It was, once it's cut out or I turned it off, I'd struggle to start it again. So it is starting, but like I say, it's just not idling very well, although it is idling. So yeah, I'll have to leave this one here because I mean, this video is not going to be too long for you, but this is like half a day in here for me. And then I'll have to regroup another day and get the balancer on it. Have a look, see exactly how I'm going to go about balancing the carbs. I know it's not a difficult job to balance them. The pain in the arse with these is getting the balancer on it. But you know, hopefully that's all it's going to be, and it is just going to be a fact that the carbs are out of balance. Even though I've not taken them apart, I don't know how the balancing actually works. Does it mess up the balancing, stripping bits out of it and cleaning it up and whatever? I don't know. But yeah, that's obviously one avenue that I can try and fix the idling. Because like I say, on full beans it sounds perfect. It's just that idling. It sounds like it's kind of misfiring a little bit and running a bit lumpy. And I did watch one video a couple of weeks ago where a similar thing, carbs had been cleaned and it was running as a bit of a misfire. And he balanced the carbs and it was spot on. So yeah, long day for me, but like I say, I've done what I've set out to achieve, or I've achieved what I've set out to do. And we'll have to come back another day and have a bit of a balancing play video, see how useless I am at that. But yeah, I'm sure I'll get there in the end, because if I don't get there in the end, this will be sold as a project, because it's spent far too long off the road. I think it's going on for 6 years now. This thing has been a pain You know, probably the best bike I ever owned, but for the past 6 years it's been an absolute fucking nightmare. But I'm sure we'll get there in the end. You know, I don't want to give up on it, because it is, like I say, the best bike I've ever owned. So yeah, I'll leave it there then. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheers.